In 1996, Nigeria experienced the worst outbreak of meningitis. Kano, a state in the northern part of Nigeria, was the worst hit. This led the federal government approving the application of the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, seeking to enter the country, offering to treat meningitis patients and provide preventive medication. What was unknown to the recipient was the drug Trovan was still in its experimental phase and yet to get approval from the US Food and Drug Administration. They will later find out the hard way.
It damaged my organs, my hormones. Every year I will break, my leg will break, I will not grow again.
Pfizer was administered on me, and then afterward I couldn't move my legs. 2 days after, the other one also shrunk and dried up.
This experimental drug, Trovan, will lead to the deaths of 11 children, leaving others deformed, and a lengthy legal battle between families, the Kano state government, and Pfizer. "28 odd years after the use of experimental drug Trovan on Nigerian children and several years in court, these victims are still reeling from the effect of Trovan.
My bone will be not strong again as normal people. That's why I'm not growing. Even my teeth are not strong. Even school, my parents do not put me because if I am playing with my mates, anything mistake, if I fall, I will get injury.
The lives of these victims twisted in ways no one hoped.
My father and my mother sponsoring my life. Now they are dead. It's my brother and sister. They are helping me. School fees, transport, clothes, and food. And the life now is so hard. I wish if I am normal, I can work and get money, but I can't because I'm not strong. I cannot walk even far. My sisters and my neighbors are they helping me. Even I want to take a bath, I can't carry the bucket. Are they carrying me? Even in school, are my roommates that are helping me. Even I want to go to school, they will hold my hand so that I will be comfortable to walk to my lecture room.
Rukaya suffers from a rare case of osteoporosis, malocclusion, gait syndrome, and other physical deformities associated with stunted growth, abnormal formation of her upper and lower limbs. She tells the story of how all of these began.
When I was 15 years old, I asked my mom what happened to me. That all my brothers and sisters look very normal, but me, I'm looking like that. She said me that time that government announced inside radio, say all children that are 9 months should take us to the Kano teaching hospital to get in vaccination. Then she take me there and give me vaccination, Pfizer. After that vaccination, I start feeling fever. At that time, I start feeling fever. Give me paracetamol. I'm not get well. Then when she take me to the hospital, they say it's damaged my organs, my hormones. They kill my hormones that will help me to grow, that will help my teeth to be strong, that help my body to be normal like other people. They damage that organs. When I was growing, my bone is not strong, and my teeth too are not normal, like no people teeth. They see it. That's why I am normal before the vaccination.
Ruqayya is just one amongst many who suffer from the effect of the treatment. Many parents went through the agony of losing their children.
My name is Ismail Adambuzu. I'm a father of Hadiza Ismail. She died as a result of Pfizer injection of Trovan conducted to her at IDH Hospital Kano in 1996.
For others, their lives were ruined forever by the experiment performed on them without their permission.
My parents told me that when I was a little girl, at about 3 years of age, a drug known as Pfizer was administered on me, and then afterward, I couldn't move my legs. It started by shrinking one of my legs, completely drying it up, and then 2 days after being taken to the hospital, the other one also shrunk and dried up. There is a muscle around my knee that cannot straighten because it is permanently bent.
Hafsat Yunusa Musa was treated alongside her brother. Sadly, he did not survive. He died the very next day.
It was Pfizer medication that I was given when I was suffering from meningitis. We were two. We got admitted and were being treated. My brother was treated and was allowed to be taken home, and then died afterwards. For me, I also took the medication, and then it affected me on my legs. From then, I couldn't use my legs again. His name was Abdullah Yunusa.
Sunana Sa'adatu Tijjani. An haife ni a ƙaramar hukumar Dala a unguwar Bakin Ruwa.
My name is Sa'adatu Tijjani. I was born in Bakin Ruwa. I was administered with a medication for meningitis at the time. My parents told me that before the Pfizer medication at the hospital, my legs were all right and I could move around without any problem. But since after the Pfizer medications, my legs started getting bad, and I could no longer hold on to things firmly, nor do things that require energy. It was as if my legs were cut off. After I was discharged from the hospital that was trying to treat me afterwards, to no avail, I started learning how to move, stand, sit, and do other things that would require the use of my limbs again. Eventually, my auntie carried me on her back and took me back to the hospital, where I was medicated. And upon getting to the hospital, she explained to them at the hospital entrance how my condition has been worsened, but they refused to let us in, saying it is not their business. Each time I remember it, my heart breaks.
The emotional trauma, the heart, what parents thought was a cure had now stolen the joy and fulfillment from their children.
Kamar misalin da ina so in yi riga da zani. Ina ganin mutane wanda suke tafiya a tsaye suna yi.
Sometimes I would want to put on certain clothes, For instance, if I see my fellow ladies wearing certain clothes that I love, I can't wear those dresses. I end up getting embarrassed because the clothes will fall off my body. I really can't finish saying everything I feel with my condition. I have totally been deprived of my life. A certain day at home, after washing my clothes, I needed to hang them on the line, but I couldn't find anyone to help me. I tried, but I couldn't. I could only sit there and cry. I got tired and promised to take up the fight. Look at my legs. They are completely gone. I can't do anything by myself. I am constantly needing assistance. What hurts me the most is when prospective male suitors come around me. They'll end up leaving saying they can't marry a cripple or disabled person. My husband left me because his family said I was too much of a burden on him. So he left me.
Bilkisu, who was only able to get married few months back, lost her marriage as her husband said he couldn't cope with a deformed wife.
Now, I'm 29 years old. Honestly, this condition is preventing me from doing a lot of things in my life. One of the major limitations is going to school and coming back. I walk daily to school and back. The secondary school is not a school close to the house, so I had to drop out of school. It also prevented me from getting married. Anyone who has interest in marrying me and comes close, they will find out I'm disabled, and then they will change their minds. Honestly, it's not a palatable experience.
Yana nan shi yana da ransa amma ba yi da hannu ba kafa kuma alhali har yanzu siyan magani nake yi mu fasa ba tunda aka yi mai wannan allura baya zuwa ko ina daga gida sai gida ba gashi ya kai minzulin da zai nemi abin kansa kullun sai da ya dinga cewa in yi mai aure nace to kai da baka da lafiya ba sana'a ya za a yi maka aure tunda wanda zai aure kan ai kaga kai ga matsalar da kake da ita.
Honestly, my condition has prevented me from doing things normal people do in life, unlike my other siblings. I couldn't go to school or do any job. Also, it has made me to be permanently dependent on drugs. Every day, I go to the orthopedic hospital for my medication.
At the government upper basic school in Koforua village, Dala local government area, we met up with Mukhtar Danjuma, a staff at the school and father to Saadatu Tijani. He says his encounter with Pfizer has been nothing but nightmare following the permanent disabilities to his daughter.
Sababin da wannan ciwo nata lokacin tana jaririya an kai ta asibitin Zana. Ana yi mata magani abubuwa su yi maimakon a samu sauki aka yi mata wata allura sai bai ƙara lalacewa domin da yaran yau ma tana tafiya to sakamakon wannan allura da aka zo aka yi mata ma sai zama to tafiya ma ba ta yi da rana an yi rana yayi sai baban mu ta dauko ta shanya a rana an rirrike an tsaye da ita da gaba ɗaya ba ko an rike ta ba ta tsayawa sai dai ta faɗi to sai zaman to ana dan rike ta ana dan sa ta a gusarwa a ajiye nan to sai take tafiya amma kafa kuma babu shi gaskiya tana tafiya ni kafa ko a tana jan kafa da shi kusan 22 years zuwa 25 years mazanci kenan da yau da samun wannan larura nata
ta yanda abun ya zai kawo ma yaran yanka ciwo maganin da aka bata dama ta yi rashin lafiya ba wai wani abu ba rashin lafiya ne ta yi ka je ka kai ta asibiti ta samu lafiya ba aka bata magani
lafiya kuma ya lalace
abun ya kara mata rashin lafiya ya kara mata ciwo
da tana tafiya normally da kamar kowa tana tafiya
ya abun ya sa ka ji
to gaskiya ai ba mu ji da daɗi ba mai gida mun ta iyaye mun sai da muka dawo gida ne ma fa muka rinka yin magani na Hausa wallahi shine Muhammad take din miƙewa da gaba ɗaya ma ko miƙewa ma ba ta iya yi kwata-kwata amma yanzu in ta kama sanda ko ta dafa garu za ta iya miƙe amma ba ta tafiya kamar kowa ba za ta iya tafiya ba dole sai dai a rike ta ko ta rike sanda shi da za ta iya tafiya a gida na namu ba ita kaɗai ce gaskiya abin ya faru gare ta.
So, what did the state and federal government of Nigeria do to get justice for these victims?
First and foremost, Pfizer matter started before I came in as Attorney General in 2007. My predecessor was quite aware on it. This matter happened in Kano, and the Kano state government sought the support of the federal government in apprehending the Pfizer directors that were directly involved. So in 2007, when I became the federal attorney general, the governor of Kano sought support of the federal government. First was how to bring the directors of Pfizer and persons, Pfizer officials that were involved to stand trial in Kano State. And the president directed the request of the Kano State governor to my office. And we gave them all the support they needed. First, we gave the fee to the prosecuting person engaged by Kano State government. We did not actually engage anybody. Kano State government engaged a very competent and accomplished lawyer, Professor Yemi Osabanjo, who later became the vice president. And upon their request, I granted them the fee to prosecute because the matter was a federal offense, and they gave them all necessary support by making a request under the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty with my counterpart in the United States to apprehend the officials and send it back to Nigeria for trial. We did not stop there. We also obtained a warrant of arrest from the competent court, Federal High Court, and the warrant was given to the Office of Attorney General, which I also sent to Interpol to apprehend the officials.
The US-based Pfizer had argued that meningitis and not its antibiotic had led to the deaths of 11 children and harm to dozens of others. But in 2009, it reached a tentative out-of-court settlement with the Kano state government worth $75 million. In 2011, it was widely reported Pfizer had compensated these families with $175,000. The question remains, who really received this money? And did $175,000 get to the victims and their families?
We do all we could to get something about our death. We were given form by the Pfizer we feel, and in the form they promised to give each victim $175,000 US. And unfortunate, we were only given $7,000 US, which is equivalent to 2.4 million naira Nigerian currency. So we need help. We need assistance from all angles to collect the remaining balance.
I was paid 2 million naira and a few fractions not up to 40,000 naira after changing it. I think it was around 2,020,000. They even called other victims and myself in to conduct DNA tests on us. I was part of it and my saliva was taken.
They said that they would pay us $10,000, but they paid us $7,000 only. That is what they paid us.
What I would have expected was that since the case went to court, was to get the list of the victims as at that time. And when the time for compensation came up, they should have reached out to those victims, one after the other, either by reaching out through the hospital, through relatives, or through the government as well. but it was gathered that some were not even aware that there was a compensation at any time, even though they knew something of such was going to come up.
If we were paid that kind of money, do you think we would have been living in a rented apartment? There is no one that would get such kind of money and would still be living like this. If we have that kind of money, we would definitely get our own houses.
So what really happened to the $175,000? Why was the sum reduced? Why did only a fraction of the victims get paid a reduced amount? And how much did the Kano state government receive?
When I came as Attorney General, Pfizer officials came to me, and the compensation they were trying to offer Kano state government was 100,000 naira per person. They were basing on the fact that if a Nigerian policeman dies on duty, his compensation is 100,000 naira. And that actually made me a little pissed off. I told them, the officials, that the children that died, some could have become the president of Nigeria, some could become the richest man in Africa or in the world, and some could even be the United Nations Secretary General. So the issue of comparing those who died and cutting their life short, but unauthorized medical trial of such magnitude cannot be compared to the compensation of the Nigerian police force. That is a different matter. Again, Pfizer said they were going to build the children's hospital they requested from us. Actually, they wanted the national hospital, and we told them that I particularly, not we, I told them nothing happening in Abuja. They should go direct their request to Kano state government and ensure that the children's hospital is built in Kano. And whatever was paid was also paid directly to Kano state government.
Do you have information as to what was paid to Kano state?
I don't know whether Kano state was given money in cash, but I knew a hospital was built, I think about millions of dollars. I can't remember the figure, 30 million or so.
It was most on the unfortunate, phase of history of Kano, and the Ministry of Health and the Federal Ministry of Health, which we don't want, to be repeated ever. I know there were some mixed feelings. Some feel still, they were not compensated enough, because you can't bring back their live ones, those that lost. And also, the legal issues that took a while, which I know if it will be reviewed now, more and more requests, we may likely.
With all that happened following the Pfizer incident, it begs the question, what have we learned? And what measures have been put in place to prevent a reoccurrence?
From 1996 to date, so many vaccinations have gone on. So we cannot be stuck with what happened in 1990, or they judge what happened in 1990 to what is going to happen today. Sensitization has gone on. A lot of progress has gone on. A lot of taking care of them has gone on. So now, instead of them now to be a negative reference point, they are kind of a positive reference point. And also for us, what it means is that anybody that comes now has to be well screened. Anybody that comes to Kano, because now we have reason why government should be very careful, very cautious in who it accepts and the vaccine it accepts. Pfizer itself have seen how they were treated, how they were, how it was managed. So anybody that will come will consider, what happened in the past.
Both the Kano state government as well as the Pfizer company agreed to set a sort of a research center. A center which is supposed to be for academic as well as public health importance here in Kano.
We strengthened our, ethic review, committee in the state, and that herald, we have now an independent research center, courtesy, of that litigation. The center was even used during the COVID-19. It was where we saved lives of the people.
Reportedly, the initial lawsuit was for a claim of $1 billion. How then did the settlement become $75 million for the state and $175,000 for the victims?
So the issue of fair days, to me, is relative. Not that the claim of $1 billion was successful in court and judgment was entered for $1 billion and we turn around, Kano State turned around to collect $75 million. It was a claim, not a judgment. That is the misconception people are saying. There was nothing. The matter did not go to trial to the extent that judgment was entered for that amount. Kano State Committee entered into negotiation directly with Pfizer. Federal government was not involved. My office was not involved. And whatever was paid was also paid directly to Kano State government.
Both Kano and Nigeria's federal government claims that Pfizer, in its effort to test its antibiotic Trovan, drafted 200 children into its clinical trial without parental consent. Intentionally low-dosed its controlled drug to boost Trovan's profiles, falsified ethics approval forms, and eventually led to the death of 11 children and injury to dozens of others. So far, these parents have said the numbers of those affected have been grossly understated by Pfizer, stating that the children affected were over 300.
These files belongs to the victim of Pfizer Trovan injection. The files are 347 files for the victims whom the Trovan or the Pfizer inject 1996.
Although Pfizer maintains the children died from meningitis, not the trial drug, and describes its trial largely as a humanitarian effort aimed at saving lives, investigations have revealed that Pfizer was indeed responsible for the deaths and guilty of conducting human trials without informed consent. As some of these parents may never recover from the loss of their children, others will have to live the rest of their lives nursing and catering to their deformed children, while the Kano State government smiles to the bank with $75 million in compensation. One thing remains clear: these victims and their families still suffer from the 1996 unfortunate incident. And if truly $175,000 was paid, only a fraction seem to have reached these victims. In the coming days, we hope to dig deeper into the Pfizer, Trovan, and Kano State controversy. I am Marshal Anthony Onoye for News Central.